Movement is a part of our daily lives. Humans migrate from one geographical area to another to improve their living conditions or get reunited with family and friends. Many countries and indeed regions all over the world try to ease restrictions so people can move around freely and engage in economic or social activities so long as they have the entitlement to do so. Regular migration takes place every single day within countries, across countries, and even across continents. Alongside regular migration, several thousands of individuals are either lured or ignorantly undertake risky voyages with the hope of reaching the promised land, where they can achieve their dreams of economic empowerment. Many thus embark on these journeys and come back home with many scars of regret. Many die in the process and are never heard of again. Some gruesome stories never get to be told, and for this reason, many still see it as an adventure worth pursuing. The Ghana Community Radio Network, through its member stations, endeavors to engage community members on various issues that affect their well-being. In partnership with UNESCO, the spotlight for some time now has been on irregular migration.
Talking about irregular migration is a big concern to a lot of countries, especially in Africa, and even the countries that receive these migrants. So it was realized that a lot of people travel in an illegal way, going through the desert, going through turbulent waters to get to Italy and all that. And this has become worrisome for most of these countries. It's very important that Ghana becomes concerned about irregular migration, because the word irregular implies that you're not using a regular means to travel.
Various member radio stations have themselves been empowered through seminars and workshops, sharing knowledge on real-life stories.
International Organization for Migration returned some migrants into Ghana, people who had gone into Europe, into Italy, Libya, and all that. And when they came back, they realized that most of them were youth.
I settled in Agadez doing my shoemaking. I also managed to buy a sewing machine, and I was doing clothing repairs as well. So shoemaking, clothing repairs, and there are people from all walk of life, from different parts of Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Togo. They travel through Agadez, which is the desert capital. And I said, okay, what can I do? I will be there and help out in terms of what the needs of people are. So that was what I did a bit, had some money, and then moved on. I went up to through the desert, through Fashi, and end up at a town called Driku, where they have a military camp as well. And at that place, I was helping the Niger soldiers. I made some friends. I used to cook for them, clean their clothes, and also in exchange, I get food and also protection as over there. I did work there for a while, and then I decided to move forward. So from Driku, I make my way to Daotumi, Zigidim, Madama, and the rest. Then I end up in a town called Gatron in Libya. So from Gatron, I made my way to Marzuk, and Marzuk to Sabha. And then in Sabha, I was fortunate to find somebody to work with as a house help. And that was where I did for a very long time, till I gathered some money and decided to move on to Tripoli. So in Tripoli, I did also support the Ghanaian community school, and I was teaching there. And then from there, I made a bit more money, and I thought, what do I do? There was the temptation at that time where people were using small dinghy boats to travel to a place they call Lampedusa in Italy. So Lampa was the order of the day. But looking at the amount of money I had at that time, I said, if I had this money, I would never have even think of traveling. So I made my way back to Ghana and set up a business.
One lady be often amateur ono otu kwan ko Saudi Arabia ye ni din kombo but etie ni story na o ma hu de ade ye rare o de ye kodo a mo be ya nkofo won kodo aje ni biom o se okwe no efia wode ni ko hyem na ompu enko bebia what gate ni mu enti ontum mpu enko outside but one day no opportunity na oye de okotu nwuregu but after all return back e wo fie no hu de policy bag bi da ho no de ni ko hu na nipa ne spare part wo twitwa egu polythene mu.
Obi senye okopa nche onu nso ko wi where 40 number where 40 na wo boat no mu na onu na okopo hanti otum wode wone jumper no wazeman na yi na ode dandan shama no hon wazeman. He was the only person who survived wo boat no mu.
Minua panyina memmi di nachi oko lead no bi na sama obeka aye ne se wo monam se akora no o shadow se wan shadow oto ebo ena eno no kohia ye ebo nani asesei eka ketewa bi nka ebo nani kosua no na esan se ammo nani kosua na ebo nani nso kora no affect nani no kakra nti ama obaye no said ya wonya nkoye na yenim said ya nanim tie no obaye ama nanimo abesesa kakra nti eno akoye kotwa bi a aka ne ho e de beduru sabre ya ye kasai
na me papa e wo me kwanso okono e na afidi omutim e ka nkonya kwanhia e ma ne nan ebuye.
I remember a man also shared a story that he has to go and hide in the washroom, and when the security officers were searching all the rooms, he realized that they might get closer to the washroom, so he has to open the whole thing, the pit latrine, the seat, and enter into the toilet just to hide away from the security officers.
One woman also said she was pregnant by then when the soldiers or the military came chasing after them. So they were beating her, and there was this kind of cloth or mosquito net that she was using to cover her belly, her pregnancy. So when they were beating her and she was trying to run for her life, the cloth removed from her entire body before they saw her nakedness and realized, oh, she was a pregnant woman, and they had to stop beating her.
They have also moved into their various communities and consulted community members to learn more about the prevailing situations and have incorporated their findings into their programming.
It was realized that good information is needed. In fact, credible information is needed, and awareness creation is needed so that people will make informed choices about their own future and things like that. And so, they thought that the media is a very good place to start. So independent media was brought into the picture so that independent media could create credible information and give to people, so that the bottom line is to do away with irregular migration.
A lot of people who have gone through this irregular migration never had the chance to share their stories with the larger community. So these radio migration programs brought them on board, and their voices have been amplified. They have been able to share their stories, and it has become a turning point for many who never knew that this is what happens on many of such journeys. So the radio initially has giving them the voice, as a community radio is for the voiceless.
Bra, ye program nankasa. Na Ewura be chere there. And kon why radio on your bumoboko. But the day ye voice pop you call outside you call recording one. I bobo program ni ye machine. Nti nya dia okobiem. Sisi otonton. Enyama kakra provision kakra. Nti de bia no crochet am say ya ade pa ya boan. Sen kanyo nye ye program na ye na ye irregular migration program na nka ono so okwe ba nka onyim obokom nti yi kire de se ye word na ye program na ebema nkrofo bebre ehu de ohawa wakwa obokom ni nti ema na wonko.
In collaboration with the National Commission on Civic Education, traditional authorities and the local district assemblies, inroads have been made in creating the much-needed awareness that would make people make informed decisions and choices.
Obia won kwanda otu kwan momde, but mani bia won hihye, o mani bia wo bra a fa akwentu na say yɛ kɔ bi no commando another eba Ghana no de yɛ won hyehyɛ de say amfa de membra anan hyehyɛ no do a ɔman no support tuma bosom bra na say tuma de afa wranto into of course waka say nyo sika mum de but on nche de nyo sika no ebetu na etu kwan a emfa mbra kwan do emfa nkontina yɛ hwɛ ne yaka yɛ tu mebi obi wɔ no onim but yɛ hwɛ yɛ na engagement yɛ on that very 1 or 2 engagement yɛ na yɛ na yɛ cheche mbebu nso say erekutu kwan a fambra kwan do na fɛkɔ de say bibi tu hɔ no ma amagana anaso ɔman na ewum no etu na ahwɛchiri kwan obusafo etu ma ahwɛchiri kwan na your sunset wa be fi wa sondwima bibi bia nkonko ha wagen.
The assembly with the help of the district chief executive has released a parcel of land to immigration. Very soon they will be putting up their office complex here in Adan. You know, when that is done, you know, you realize that is a passport. Instead of people traveling to Accra, you know, it's like directly, you know, citizens can submit the applications to the office here, and they will facilitate that. In terms of those who use our waterways, I believe that already the Navy is in town. So, I mean, they work in collaboration to ensure that. So, you know, like I always say, development is not one time. I believe that if we give ourselves a number of years, all these things, you know, will come to ease the pressure our citizenry, you know, go through.
This community consultation take the form of a focus group discussion, and the live radio show integrates studio discussion, drama series, and interviews, among others.
So what community radio did to try and complement the effort of trying to bring about credible information in all this, the initial thing was to do a formative research. And that formative research informed a kind of a design workshop. So from that formative research, where we conducted focus group discussions with the youth to engage them on irregular migration and all that, because the idea was for them to own the issues that will come up, so that when we develop radio programs, it will be easy for them to realize the flaws and the ideas, for them to make their own choices, not to push ideas into them. And then we designed a series of programs. We did a 7-part program with that one. And out of the community consultations too, we created what we call jingles. Here, Ghana Community Radio Network, we call that info jingles. Those info jingles were, you know, created out of the issues that came out from the community, and that was played throughout all the radio stations and TV stations that I've already mentioned. We had the second part of the community radio youth participation in curbing this irregular migration. You know, we had what we call the knowledge sharing. You know, we try to share ideas from the communities in terms of what is taking place there, the irregular migration among the youth and so on and so forth. And after the sharing, we came up with some concepts and ideas in terms of creating radio programs out of that as well. And we actually created drama scripts, and those drama scripts were later translated into all the languages that I've mentioned, and those drama scripts were actually enacted and broadcast on all the radio stations.
In this program, Radio Ada, in collaboration with GCRN, Ghana Community Radio Network, came up with drama that shares the ordeal of travelers, especially those who travel through irregular routes. These drama programs have been produced, aired on the radio, featured with phone-ins for community members or listeners to also share their opinion and what can be done going forward about irregular migration.
First one, you didn't kind voice pop, then drama, na panel discussion, na phone in. 4 episodes. You share push, na you share Jenny no or how I wokum. Na fe share so what be fear or how I wonya ewo wadwim nyoma wokominen.
Many contend that this menace can be contained better if more effort is put into finding gainful employment for our youth. Others feel there should be more vigilance on so-called recruitment agencies who parade our villages and towns, promising a heaven-on-earth experience to innocent victims.
Yabasra Ghana ben de oye aben asazi don so mo hwe kroman fon won ziye te basre se Ghana ben botum aye bibi dama wo hyen de 18 years bi obi enko vote obi enko register anado enko vote so botum so aye bibi de botum aye nhye ama 18 years yin bi lo bo wie school de wie school a technical eyi bi wo wa botum wo wakotum bibi kakra bi mpo na wo do mo wasa allowance na bobo ma won han wa bebonu ma minjindi de abofra bibila de young man bibila de young woman bibila be fini krom akwabrochi wakope edwuma bia na wakope bibia ye because na owo han na obi school na bibi kakra bia oriye na aben amandama kwenya na oriye.
Radio Adan currently, if an organization comes here for an interview or an advert saying they want to recruit people to other countries for work or employment, we direct them to the District Assembly to show them their documents, how long their institution has been in office, so as tomorrow when an issue comes out, the District Assembly could be called to come and explain.
Commercial radio stations, bi wo honoma omo aka ho bi e ma yeso yeko because na omsi kana no ede.
Our culture also needs scrutiny. Who is a successful person? Is it necessarily somebody who has made an uninformed choice to go to a foreign land?
Me ma twika ana my mate e station pen. Driver ni ba ko Libya ba. No beto taxi no di adwuma. Hona onka kwan o fa so toy ana onka o ha ni amani wum. Baby omutachi ya pa station a taxi drivers for omutachi din komo pa. To be also now the way you ama obi ka che. Onye nto de oso kwaku. Sika ni ho ai na me Libya me ko ba enyem na maba beto me die no approaching no nene kasa to be unse na atwena agye na agyen siso
omo mbetime enya akwanya na akwakodu Libya honom se ba ne se bia sika kakra beto ni nsem na omane na yesi dankra mienu ana se miensa bi de mana abasa na nkaifo ni nyina eho prom se ombetimi akobi.
I will not encourage any youth who at the moment, in the situation that I was in, somebody will ask that, how come that you traveled? Why are you saying nobody should? I know what I've seen. I nearly died. It was not an easy trip. It was only by grace. And if I'm very fortunate to come out, I live to tell the story, and I would like you to think very carefully when you want to make a trip out to a place like Libya, or also trying to make your way to Europe through the illegal way, because the chances is that you will never get to where you want to be in full or in peace. And if you in our language, they said, if you are not dead yet, you don't know what you will get. I would always encourage young men and women to think carefully and also believe in themselves. Being in Ghana, being in any other part of Africa, and if it's not a war-torn zone, if you are not dying where you are, I will encourage you to believe in yourself, think locally and work globally. Just make sure that one day when all these stories come together, like mine has come together, you will live to tell a tale. I am a very fortunate one to be alive, and I want you to be alive. I will encourage you, please, do not listen to what other people say. They lie to you, and when you get there, you realize that you are on your own.
With this and many more questions which need to be answered, there is no doubt that a lot more needs to be done by the Ghana Community Radio Networks in partnership with other stakeholders with a common objective to tackle this issue to its logical conclusion.